Greetings, YouTubers. Here's a perfect example of how and why socialism, Marxism, collectivism, communism, redistribution of income schemes, whatever you want to call it, why they don't work. If the state of California isn't a good enough example for the brainwashed libtards out there, maybe Jamaica can provide one. Consider this. Barbados and Jamaica provide a striking counterexample to the institution-focused long-run view of income determination, says the National Bureau of Economic Research. Both countries inherited property rights and legal institutions from their English colonial masters, yet experienced starkly different growth trajectories in the aftermath of independence. From 1960 to 2002, Barbados's gross domestic product per capita grew roughly 3 times as fast as Jamaica's. Consequently, the income gap between Barbados and Jamaica is now almost 5 times larger than at the time of independence. In Jamaica, the People's National Party rose to power in 1972 with the promise of democratic socialism, which translated as extensive state intervention in the economy. Sounds a lot like what we're going through right now. Maybe we should take a look at that. The PNP, the People's National Party, nationalized companies, who's calling for the nationalization of oil companies, car companies, blah, blah, blah. They nationalized companies, erected import barriers in the form of higher tariffs, who typically supports higher tariffs and protectionism, and outright bans, and imposed strict exchange controls. Social justice meant income redistribution through job creation programs, housing development plans, and subsidies on basic food items. If that doesn't ring a bell, you've been hiding under a rock. Government spending subsequently rose in Jamaica from 23% of GDP in 1972 to 45% of GDP in 1978, almost double in 6 years. Revenue did not keep pace with the rise in expenditure. From 1962 through 72, Jamaica's average fiscal deficit was 2.3% of GDP, but from 1973 to 1980, it ballooned to 15.5% of GDP. Massive increase. Much of the deficit was financed through direct borrowing from the Bank of Jamaica. Well, what are we doing? We're borrowing. We've been borrowing for eons. Predictably, inflation also rose. Those of you who lived through the 70s, you know what I mean when I talk about inflation. Inflation rose from 1962 to 72. The average rate of inflation was 4.4% per year. And by 1980 in Jamaica, inflation was 27% per year, and investment had collapsed to 14% of GDP, down from 26% in 1972. So you can see how when the People's National Party took over, they started spending like drunken sailors. They started redistributing income. They started engaging in protectionism, getting the state to run all these companies. If you've done research, you can see Mexico's nationalized oil company Pemex is doing terrible. India's nationalized oil companies losing money. Jamaica, just like California, is a perfect example that socialism does not work. And I don't know what else you can do to pound it through the thick skulls of these idiots, but socialism does not work. Look at Jamaica, look at California. Perfect example.